I get angry about it. You're already listening to my commentary on 7 and 6 and 5. You'll get there. But I have plenty of anger I've gotten out about these things. It's why I started with those. Full honesty, when I knew I was doing this podcast and I knew it was going to be all about Tremors, it's like, man, I really fucking hate those movies, and I would like to just get them out of the goddamn way because I hate them so fucking much. So I did. So I just like, and I researched the hell out of 5, 6, and 7, so that way it was like, man, once I am done with once I do these 3 episodes of commentary, we're good. We're good. I don't got to go back. When you said that thing about, you were wrong. You said that they each got one line in each movie, and they actually only got one line in total between the 3 characters. And now I don't trust your opinion at all. It's like, okay, because I will go back and rewatch 7, just for you, man, just to be like, I'll tally how much it is. And I think it's just the girl. I think the one girl, that one Chinese girl, has like the only line between those background characters in Tremors 7. And yeah, Ghostbusters, like, it's got to come. We got to come back to that, Keegan. I would love to do the Ghostbusters bit. But without the further of the ado-ness, holy shit, we got 5 viewers. So yeah, yo, cause it's time for some podcasting. I hope you keep on listening, cause it's time for Talking Tremors shit. Talking Tremors shit. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I was gonna say it's like my 2nd episode of Talking Tremors, but it's my 2nd episode in a row from last night of the Talking Tremors. I literally could not contain everything that I needed to in the discussion last night of Tremors is Woke. And I even left it, too, just like, shit, I forgot one. Actually, I do have to say this. If you listen to the Tremors is Woke episode, there is one. In Tremors 4, they do a great thing with the women are very, like, powerful and like a strong entity. There's this scene where like Hiram and Juan are off at the muling station, and then Mrs. Chang and Christine and Fu Yan are there, and she just takes off. Like, she's like, oh, the boys are in trouble, I guess I gotta go save them. And there's no, when like she pulls up, there's no like conversation about, well, why a woman is here saving us. It's like, no, get on the fucking wagon, bitch. That's woke. That is woke, bro. So if you don't want to hear that conversation, like I said, I really was quite proud of myself last night for the Tremors is Woke episode, because Tremors has been woke for so long, and it only became unwoke with Don Michael Paul, which is where we're getting into today with people who think they know what they're doing with something, and they really just don't fucking know what they're doing with something at all. And thank you, Keegan. I'm glad you like my vocals. I do a lot of singing on most of these episodes. I do try to open with a song, because that's always a podcast thing where you open with some music. Yeah, but Tremors is some woke shit, and that's kind of why I wanted to do this. And I was gonna try to talk about fans when I was doing it last night, and I kind of got there, but it's that there's that whole Burt Gummer subsection that really just like it makes it hard to do that unless you gotta focus on that aspect. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure how to start these. That's why I said the thing about it's nice to start with a song, gets me into it. I didn't even do a proper intro, Jesus Christ. But I assume if you're fucking listening to, again, the 26th episode of a podcast, you know that this is Talking Tremors. I'm your fucking host, Levi Dillenberg's Lawflut. Yes, I have 4 different names because I got married and I took her name too. Because that's woke, bro. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this tranny, like, I go both ways. I go all the different directions and I take pieces and, man, If you were gonna start a cult off of what I thought, it would just be a cult of like, nope, I don't give a shit what you think. I'm gonna just think what I think. There would be nobody following anybody's rules. It would just forever be just this biggest like fucking like, no, I'm gonna do what I want. I'm gonna do what I want. Okay, just fucking go in the opposite direction, which is what I mean. That's. As I'm going to be talking about this, and the topic of conversation is toxic fandoms, gatekeeping, and it's not loudmouths that like know it all. It's not so much that. It's about speaking with authority while presuming that you know it all. I think we'll get there. That description of what I'm trying to say. As we go through here, I need to turn on one light. Hold on, I can see that because I always forget there's video podcast land, and everybody likes to see my backgrounds and stuff. And if you're ever wondering what the fuck all of this is actually a great example right up here of what my cult would be. Of like everybody gets to draw on the ceiling, and we all get to write whatever the fuck we want and whatever it is. The only rule is that we don't draw over what somebody did before. Ooh, which actually, oh my god, that totally works with what I'm going to go here on. And if you look up here and you were to actually take a general pick of what this all is, it's just art that is coalescing and creating and moving next to each other, which I think is the most powerful pieces of art. Art is not about destroying. To just straight up be like, I'm done. It's about creating something. You have to destroy sometimes to create, which is, I mean, if you're marking on a wall, that's you destroying the wall, but it doesn't mean you have to destroy the other arts. That brings me to why I'm angry. Why I'm angry. Okay. And Edwin's here. Edwin knows this. I was talking about this with Keegan too. I assume there's probably other people here. Caitlin's here too. My wife Caitlin's in the chat too. She knows this full well because I never shut the fuck up about it. She's the only person in the entire world I don't expect to listen to this podcast because she's already heard it like 18,000 times in person. And it's about the concept of we can sell an empty box named Tremors. And your scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could, they didn't stop to think if they should. What makes me angry enough to want to do this episode is what I would call a consensus. I don't want to say of the Tremors fan base, because this is something that you can end up applying to multiple fan bases. That's what, if we can go into this here, and if anybody has any thoughts in the chat about other fan bases, or if you disagree with what I'm saying, hit me, or find examples, or let's move through this. And there's this, it's so frustrating, this thought that I see all the time, where it's, we love practical effects, we love the old school style, no CGI, and remember when Tremors was a well-written movie, and it's the perfect movie. It's got the perfect structure. You know, it's just boom, perfect. Then saying, and I see this in fan, like it's not all, but I see this sentiment in fans where it's like, yeah, and I want that era of good filmmaking. I want that. But also, Tremors is just about me having fun and turning my brain off. And it makes me stop. And it it just fucking pisses me off because I sit there and I was talking about this with the Tremors is Woke thing where it's like when people, oh, it's going to be woke and that's a bad thing. And I read that and it's like, I try to imagine what Tremors being woke is immediately when you say, yeah, I want Tremors to be old school with great writing and characters, but also I want to turn my brain off and not do anything. Guys, these are contradictory ideas here. These are not like, and I'm not saying that these things can't like play in the same sandbox with you. No, yeah, that's what it is. Both, all right. And this is where to have this conversation here about what is really turning your brain off mean when it comes to that kind of movie. And I come from a background of, man, my childhood was sat in front of the fucking Sci-Fi Channel every Friday, Saturday night for the Sci-Fi Channel original movie. And I've seen some shit, man. And you turn your, like, there's, and Edwin saying, or pay attention to the details and you can turn your brain off. I've always thought that with those sci-fi movies, with those like Sci-Fi Channel original movies, the reason you can turn your brain off is because they end up being really well structured. I think that's, in the end, out of all those movies, the formula of it is so good. And it's why so many people end up gravitating towards Tremors, is because Tremors does the flip on the script of everything that you know, while also keeping that structure. And I would say it's the comedy aspects that you can do. And it's not like, it's not about the comedy, it's about fun. Like, and I'm getting there with this. And what makes those Sci-Fi Channel original movies so fun when it comes to turning your brain off is you know that there's somebody behind the screen probably like actually giving a shit. Like, that's like, I've come to that conclusion with the Don Michael Paul Tremors, where as much as I want to say these are just universally bad movies, to say that is to completely discredit everybody. And that's why I was saying the thing about, oh, I love Tremors, I love the original Tremors, I love the practical effects, I love the writing, I just want to turn my brain off. I want to rip your brain out when you say that. And it has to do with what I know about Stampede. And this is where the conversation of gatekeeping might come in a little bit. To automatically assume that because a movie is a monster movie, it's a sci-fi channel original movie, nobody put any thought into it. Nobody like actually cared. I listened to so many podcasts where, and I don't want to hate Kevin Bacon for this, but his whole thing of that where he broke down in the street and was crying about the worms, it has been taken way over the top in the last 30, 25 years. Because it's just an easy way for people to say, well, that Tremors is dumb. I was listening to one today, I think Bad Movies Rule podcast, and they were postulating that, like, oh yeah, you know, when Kevin Bacon got this script, what was he like? Oh, I mean, worms, I guess so. And then even going further to say, well, the people that made this, it was just kind of like a bottom of the barrel idea, and they didn't really care about it. And God, and it just, as I sit here with all of these books and everything of just like pages of proof that these people cared about this, I can't stomach the turn your brain off argument when it comes to actually learning anything about what happened or the franchise or any, like, and that's what this ends up going to be about. Because there's I was going to say Tremors fans, but there's that section of movie fans I will say this. Oh, this is straight up. This is straight up a thing that's happening on Reddit right now. I was on Reddit for 10 years. My entire Reddit profile has been banned, and every time that the people with the Tremor Saga try to like start their own Reddit profile and then post to our movies, they get banned. So people are being banned for talking about Tremors, and even more so, before I got banned, the way that people would phrase it to me about, like, you care about Tremor? Like, you care about that? Like, that's dumb. Why would you care about that, like, bunch of, like, monster movies? Like, oh, woo. Like, it's just, like, whenever anybody says it's just a movie about giant worms, I'm always like, I don't, your opinion is just going right past me. I'm really trying to listen, but you just didn't give a shit, did you? You turn, and that's where I want to use that term of that you're turning your brain off is sometimes a way of people being like turning their hearts off. I think that's the better way of putting it. Because, like I said, I love to turn my brain off and have fun with those Sci-Fi Channel original movies, but I never turn my heart off. And I always, when you're coming into a movie or anything like that, there is emotion. There's but besides, to say that with the Sci-Fi Channel original movies, sometimes it's a paycheck for the studio, but that doesn't mean that all of those people don't put in something for it. If you want, there is no greater proof of that on a Tremors thing than seeing every single person that worked on the Kevin Bacon Tremors pilot. Every single one of them, even the stepmom of Andrew Miller, all collectively being like, this was really good. Not only was this really good, but like we all put our hearts into this, and we all put our souls and our thoughts and our cares into it, and I didn't even make it, and I get fucking frustrated when I see people be like, oh, the Graboid and the trailer wasn't the same Graboid, and we will also then turn around and I mean this because it's on Facebook. This is usually Twitter. I like Twitter. I gotta say, Twitter people, I don't really interact there much, but from what I see, Twitter people, when it comes to Tremors, are pretty great. Reddit people are about 50-50. It's Facebook. Where they'll be like, that Graboid in the trailer wasn't a real Graboid. But I kind of liked the variant of the Graboids in Tremors 5, 6, and 7. You're like, so you're fine with it as long as it looks cool to you. You're not going to take it any farther than that. It's just as simple as, that looks nice. And it's as a transgender person, as a person that's thought they're ugly and has had to realize better, that like the looks don't always mean everything, man. And sometimes, like original Graboids don't look good, but the concept look good. Shriekers don't look good, but the concept looks good. Assblasters, that one got away from them a little bit, but again, they only had 22 fucking days to film that. So I don't blame them. And thank you, Edwin, for being. It is open to me. Because Edwin, once you get to. I read the Tremors pilot script. We got the script, the Tremor Saga. People got the script like a year ago. And I got to read the script, and I did all the voices, and then I did a second episode where it's a completely in-depth profile on it. And there's a reason. There's a reason that Graboid looks like that. And it actually, I can't knock it because they did what Alec Gillis and Tom Woodruff Jr. were doing, which is they took from biology. There's a creature, a type of worm that can basically just completely like squeeze and meld and like just go through tiny ass little cracks. So that's why it's a little rubbery like that. And then the foamic acid thing that they do in it does, because it looks like, and the maggot, yes, it does look like a maggot, and that's part of the idea. Because if you haven't watched the TV show, that's the Mixmaster. The Mixmaster plotline actually does come into the show. And you know what's funny? That's not CGI. Edwin just said, I was turned off by the CGI. And this is what is so like, oh my God, I hate how they cut that trailer. That's not CGI. That's actually a physical, practical prop there at the end of that trailer. Of the Kevin Bacon. Yeah, what the fuck did he fuck? When I found that out for the first time, and then I found out, like, the way that the trailer gets cut, and it's just like, you made this incredibly misleading. Where, like, I don't believe that it was one of the people actually working on the show. I don't believe it was like Andrew Miller or Vincenzo Natali that put it out there. Because to end on that, like, you don't necessarily give that money shot away at the end. And also, you would know, like, oh, we don't want to, like, piss fans off. Because the original Graboid actually makes an appearance in the pilot. There's like 3 or 4 different sculptures of, there's one of Val riding a fucking like, it's great. If you go to the Discord, there's a Tremor Saga official Discord. Always look for the link tree at the Tremor Saga. Go to the Discord. They have a channel there. That's the Kevin Bacon pilot. Or just look up Hollywood Unseen. Another film nerd, the guy that did the same write-up for Tremors 5, did one for the Tremors pilot. And there's all these pics of everything that I'm talking about. And one of them is Graboid, Val on a fucking Graboid, man. Like... Yeah, exactly, Edwin. Fuck, couldn't we get that instead of the Don Michael Paul trilogy? And you want to know what's crazy? Those things were happening at the same time. There's a weird, I don't know if this is a coincidence, but there's a weird thing that happens where Val's daughter shows up in Tremor 6, A Cold Day in Hell. Valerie shows up. The plot, the main emotional crux of the Tremors pilot is about Val reconnecting with his daughter when she comes back to town. Her name is Emily in that. And so I have to take a fucking step back sometimes. And this is where the gatekeeping and people who, the idiots, that's the other part of this. The idiots who try to talk like they fucking know something. And it's 2018. They came out at the same time. The Tremors pilot's in 2018. Tremor 6 is in 2018. You can't tell me that, like, Universal, because they would see that footage, they would all see that. Don Michael Paul had to have seen it. They would try to show him. He's currently their director. That, like, they see that and they go, like, oh, well, we kind of like the Val's daughter thing. Like, let's take that and fucking, and they kind of butcher it in Tremors 6, because what they do in the Tremors pilot is so great, because she's trying to tell Val that he's a has-been, and that he's living in the past, and that he was never really a great dad, always hyper-focused on that. He was almost like Bert, where he's over hyper-focused on graboids, and what you get of that then is in the Tremor 6, where it's, oh yeah, he's never really around. It's like, that's just butchered it. But to bring it back there, that was all still about Tremors. It may have been a tangent, but it was all still about Tremors. I split the timeline there, as Edwin is saying. No, we're not doing that with Tremors. That's my one problem with what Kevin did, or what Kevin was saying, where it's like, oh, no, we're going to ignore the sequels. And I love that Andrew Miller went, yeah, no, we're not going to ignore the sequels, and still, like, just writ them in anyway, very subtly. Because it's also like, Kevin, you weren't here for the last 30 years. Fuck off. You don't actually get a choice. You don't get to decide plot. And it's why I really do love that pilot, because it's all about, like, it starts with Val pissing his pants, which if you look at the first Tremors, and Val is peeing off a cliff, and then Val literally can't pee. Like, he literally, like, he's getting old and he can't get it to work. And, like, he gets scared because he thinks there's a shaking happening, falls on his ass, and he pisses himself. And then that brings it back to what I was saying. I've seen people that have seen the pilot, or they've read the script, and they take that because it's the first scene, and they're like, oh man, they totally, like, you just, like, ruined the character and, like, completely made him shit, and, like, oh, like, what's happening here? And if you've watched the Don Michael Paul sequels, shit, man, what that is for Val is nothing like what happens to Burt Gummer. That man gets fucked. I mean, everything after that lion cage scene is just downhill for Burt Gummer. So Valentine pissing his pants is completely within reason. And I've seen so many people be like, oh, that was it. Yeah, that's just pee-pee humor. Like, that's that to go back to the shutting your brain off, not opening your heart. Like, no, man. Like, just let it happen. Examine everything. Examine everything. Examine everything. Look at the first movie. Look at what was happening. Look at how it follows through. Like, it's... Yeah. And, you know, and Edwin saying, ignore the Don Michael Paul sequels and, you know, kind of keep going. And as far as I've talked with, like, Stampede and the Tremor Saga people, like, it's not so much that's the idea. Because it's really, nobody wants to, even they don't want to run over anybody else's art. They're fully aware that there was hundreds of thousands of people that worked on Tremors 5, 6, and 7 that you don't want to go, well, your effort wasn't canon. It didn't matter anymore. And just like that, no. We got to respect the art of what we're doing here. And then, yeah, so you have people that will really destroy and dissect and fucking terminate an idea just because it doesn't immediately work for them. And I'm saying that from personal experience. The Don Michael Paul films may not have immediately worked for me, but I have tried. And I've gone like, maybe there was something there. Last night when I was doing the Tremors is Woke thing, I fully prepared to like, yeah, Tremors 5, they're in Africa and there's like black people and they're working together and stuff, but actually not really. The black people are like kind of over there and the white people are over there, and oh no. And then when you get into 6 and 7, the casts are like diverse, but they don't have any fucking lines or character arcs or anything like that. They're just, hey, look at we accomplished our tokenism. We've got our people in the background, and that's where that whole woke thing of like that's where that's wrong. That's where that ends up being wrong. But people will accept that and even say, like, no, those are good. Those are still like. I when people try to say on the Facebook, I've stopped. I have like a year ago, I just stopped even arguing with people sometimes when it comes to that, because you just kind of, the only thing I will part information if I'm there and around, but like, oh my god, did you really? Okay, it's like you gotta take the good with the bad. It's just like season 4 of Community. It's good job on doing something 70s movies couldn't do, from Edwin. And like I said, I have had to stop arguing with people because they don't want to listen. They don't want to listen, and that's maybe what I'm doing right now on this podcast. There's nobody listening. Looks like I think I've only got my wife and Edwin in here. I think Keegan left us after the wokeness. I hope not. Wasn't trying to push him out. Like, I actually wanted him in here. Everybody should be involved in the discussion. And okay, and that's what I was trying to say. And I used to get so mad, like trying to like explain to people like, no, there's a difference here. I don't want you to hate 5, 6, and 7. I don't want you to do that. But you do know there's a difference, right? That like these things over here are not the same as these things over here. And there's one of these things is something we should be striving for. Like, and that's the DMP. I keep wanting to say DMT films, but that's not right. DMP films that's your brain turn off Sci-Fi Channel original movie. Tremors over here is not about sophistication. It's about doing something with the art form. Like there's a purpose to it. There's an actual purpose to making the movie beyond just I want some money. And sometimes that purpose is as simple as I want to tell a good story. That's Tremors 1 is the purpose is Ron, Brent, Steve wanting to be able to make a movie on their own that they were proud of and that they could put their name on and be like, we made this. This was all us. Great job on what we did. Tremors 2 is about going like, well, what does everybody expect with a sequel? And how do we flip that script on its head? And then Universal's always like, it's got to be bigger. And Steve's like, that's kind of boring. Like, why wouldn't it be cool if they were little? And they popped out and they were little guys. Which is fucking brilliant. Like, to not do that, to not do the easy thing of the Queen Graboid. And then Tremors 3, it's not anything to do with the monsters. The true concept is taking the Burt Gummer character and then adding the government and almost making Burt Gummer the new government of perfection, making him learn that, like, that thing that you were always so afraid of is something that you probably should be doing. This is what I was talking about in my Tremors is Woke episode last night, where, like, Burt's character arc is all about him learning that his place in the community is almost, you should be mayor of perfection. Like, that, I was talking about that last night, where it's, if there was a town council meeting and Burt would be like, no, nobody should be mayor, but everyone would be like, we were probably going to actually vote for you to do it because you're the only one we trust and we kind of like hate at the same time to like carry out that job. So like, do you want the job, sir? So that's that. And then Tremors 4 is Steve's personal love of fucking Western movies. And I say that because that's what, like, Tucker's Monster and Tremors 4 are so similar in so many different cute ways that, like Tremors 4 is Steve S.S. Wilson's movie. Like, that thing is, that thing, if you were going to pick all of them or pick any movie of his, like, that's the one that I would define Steve S.S. Wilson on. It's Edwin, when you get to the Tremors 4 commentary that I do, I listen to the commentary of Steve doing it, and it's just him basically doing this. He's alone and solo in the fucking studio, just talking about the props and shit in the background of like, oh, that steam engine. Nobody thought that I was going to use that steam engine, but they can go fuck themselves because I put that steam engine in every goddamn shot. And I would say the sequel was comparable to the Final Destination 2 movie, nothing noting similarity, but in how it's a perfect as a sequel to the previous movie. Yeah, and yeah. You've listened to that it's just him talking about steam engines, which if you follow Steve Wilson's channel on YouTube, he's got the Lost Tapes or whatever, which they like, I think the highest Lost Tape has like 1,000 views, and I'm always like, that's fucking dumb. But what has the biggest views is Steve with like pedal tractors and little steam like engine things. There's one of him, like I think he bought a road grader. Because he lives out in the desert. I think he bought a road grader. It's got like 12,000 views. It's just him just fucking barreling along. It's where I love it. I will always point out to people that like look at Burt Gummer and that's tone him down just a little bit, and you got Steve Wilson. Tone him down and add glasses, and that's Steve Wilson. Also, I'm having a laugh. My wife is laughing and commenting. She's literally downstairs. So, this is like Inception. Just saying. I don't know what's going on. But it's beautiful. The point was, there's the passion there. And I know, Edwin, that you hate 3. Brent's passion is character flipping. So what I was saying about Burt becoming more of a government man, the government coming in and doing that thing, that's Brent making a character study about Burt Gummer and his usefulness in society. Who are you, Burt? What are you doing for the rest of the good of the community? Because it can't just be guns and blowing shit up. Yeah. It's so Edwin, it's so fucking great. A 40-year-old just loving steam trains, and damn, I put that in the background, the steam engine. Did you notice? Because he is. That's what he's doing. It's always, and I can tell too that the way he keeps bringing it up is that it's somebody, I want to say it's probably Nancy too, because she's the producer. Oh, always the producer, and in a smart producer's mind, being like, Steve, how do you justify the $80,000 that we're using for this steam engine? And Steve just constantly being like, well, I put it in the background of that shot and put it in the, hey, how about we use the steam engine to kill a graboid at the end? You know, just everything that he can. It wasn't a complete waste, Nancy. I got it everywhere. I put it over there. It's fucking adorable. Like, I love steam engines. I don't care. I'm halfway justifying it to you, but I also don't care. It's my movie. Eat my big fat dick. And yeah, if Edwin too, if you've listened to that commentary, that is my Steve Wilson impression. I do love, hey, you know, like, this is what we're doing, guys. It's not nerdy, he's just really, really into his shit. And yeah, Edwin, the characterizing Bert in that third movie, that's the priority that I look at. I get real hung up on the Jody and Jack thing, because I'm always like, girl, you shit, really? Him? Girl, you can do so much better. Like, that's not that, like, please, for the love of God, tell that guy to fuck off. And, like, you can do a lot better than Desert Jack Sawyer. It's not that you don't buy the relationship, because that thing's happened, but in the back of my mind, I'm always like, Jody, go get Tyler. Just wait. Tyler's coming. Or Larry. Even Larry would be better than fucking Desert Jack Sawyer. And so, yeah, you have a legit passion for these things happening. Like, that's what we should be looking at. And then you go from that to then... And I will... Okay, because I do have to say this, and I know you haven't watched the series. Tremors, the series, is actually Michael Gross's passion. That's why that one works. Is because Michael Gross... He's executive producing, and he's the only Steve and Brent straight up admitted this, because they were in LA writing and sending scripts while the fucking people making it were down in Mexico making it. Like they were literally in Mexico, and I love we'll save money by going to Mexico. No, we won't. We still had to bribe everybody and do all these things. I was just watching one where he's like, yeah, you know, we had to bribes custom agents to get guns across, and everybody in the audience just laughs, and he's like, yeah, you think I'm joking? That's actually what happened. And I've heard Steve say that in another podcast where he's really ashamed that it's I think because one of the props people came up to him afterwards and told him about it, and he was like, really? After all of the trying to be absolutely safe with guns that we did on all the other things, you guys had to legit bribe custom officials to get guns into Mexico when we could have just filmed in America for way less money. Fucking dumb. But the point that I was trying to say was that Michael Gross is the passion behind Tremors, the series. And it's why I love it the most, because I've never watched Family Ties, but it feels to me like Family Ties with monsters. Because it's a great... I love the community, and it's actually the closest community that we get to Tremors 1, where it's a bunch of people, and Tremors 4 has it too. That's why I love that movie so much, where it's just these people that have been around a lot, and they've argued off screen, they've had their talks and shit off screen. They have so much to say to each other that they're not saying on screen, and you get all of that. You get all of that tension that builds and follows in between characters, actually building people. Building people is very important. And so Tremors, the series, and I could tell that it's Michael Gross also seeing I need to make sure that I have a nice steady paycheck. If you guys are going to have me back for Tremors all the time, all the fucking time, can we just do a TV show? So that way, I can get in, do what we need to, and get out, and we can make a whole bunch of these, because clearly, and you got to realize Michael Gross is probably realizing that more than they are at that point. We're just Jesus, Universal keeps saying this is the last one, guys, and it's never the last one. And even now, even with a spoiler alert, with the way that Universal tried to end Michael Gross, even he's like, Well, they told me it's the last one, but if they make enough money, like, it's never the last one. It's, as he says, show business is 5% show, 95% business. So, like, all of, like, your money decisions will, like, always, that's always what brings it up. And don't mind being late, Edwin. I will watch your comments and take them in as we go. I have a real good improv style. I'll jump and pop and bring it all to stop and go the drop. A hop, a rip a dippy dap, a pom pom pom. Nope, I am a completely sober individual, folks. I have touched the nose and the thing. I'm so good. But the point is of what I was trying to say was passion. That's what even this is. You know, this is about passion, about bringing it to that. And then you get to the Don Michael Paul films, and I didn't even know this until I watched the Zoran Graboid-Shaped kill counts, and there's another person with some goddamn passion. I kind of thought he was running the Tremor saga for a while, but he's actually trying to get in contact with me through the Tremor saga to, like, have a Talking Tremors podcast, so it's probably not Zoran. But it's like, God damn, I love Zoran. Sorry, I really have to say that and stop. That man is, whew, wow, God, like, passion. Understanding the creativity and everything that it takes behind the scenes to get something done, and I even have to say that about the Dead Meat the Dead Meat channel in general. It wasn't until Zoran did the kill count that I even knew that fucking existed, like, at all. I had no idea about that at all, and I've gone back and I don't watch a lot of horror movies. I'm much more of a monster movie creature feature person, so that's not a lot of what James does in his other stuff. But I have gone back on things that he has done. I've tried to watch them, and it's like, man, you guys know that when it comes to making a horror movie, that's sometimes the most caring people in the world. And it's so easy. And yeah, I'll bring it back to this is the gatekeeping toxic thing. It's so easy to be like, oh man, those are, Freddy versus Jason, and they slashed the head off, and that's so gross, and how can you even watch that kind of thing? It's just the nastiest. And I go, like, you know what? You ever watch The Notebook, man? Like, that shit's pretty fucking hardcore. Like, that'll make me get worse than any fucking beheading or split down the middle, man. Like, watching James Garner with Ellen Burstyn and she's forgetting him. That's horror to me, man. And you know what? All that takes is acting. That's it. And you know what? That's a baseline for fucking every actor in the world. You should just be able to do that. But the horror genre is, I have really grown to respect the hell out of it because of the Dead Meat channel. Of just like, God, all of these things are passion. Unless somebody's trying to turn a buck, do that as studios are wont to do. There's always somebody who wants to try behind the scenes. They're giving it. They are giving it all. Even before the Dead Meat channel, I have always been a fan of Tom Savini and Stan Winston, and now I'm finding Greg Nicotero, what I was saying about Alec Gillis and Tom Woodruff Jr., or to pull these things off. Rob Bottin in The Thing. The Thing is one of my absolute favorites of just like, I don't want to be in this room right now, but this is so fascinating. It's, like everything's morphing and you are physically revulsed and you're still like, wow, this is great. Cronenberg does, oh my God. I have this thing where I can watch a Cronenberg movie once. I will always try to, got to give everything its fair due. Man, when you can make that shit and make it horrifying and make it fully real to where we're disgusted as an audience, That's what you're not turning your brain off. Your heart is like fully open, and you are accepting the reality of the situation. In that, every time you watch a zombie's brains get blown up or a guy get pulled into a blender and mutilated, your brain knows that that's not real, because if it was, like, there's no way that this isn't Cannibal Holocaust. There's no way that this movie's getting made. Like, to do that effort involved it's amazing. I really do love it. I really do. And we should all. Horror is not a genre to just turn, like, oh, I don't care. Turn your brain off. It's gross. That's people who don't know fucking jack shit talking about something. And I was talking about this with the Tremors is Woke thing, where if you hate Melvin and if you're trying to say, oh, Melvin's annoying, I think he should have got eaten, and you still, by the end of the movie, are still harboring that, I ask you to look in the mirror. And are you Melvin? How much were you a Melvin when you were a kid? I'm pointing at both cameras in the Twitch and both, because you can't, when you are revulsed, I think that's right, revulsed by something, that means that there was something that elicited that reaction in you. There's a switch in you, something that happened that you go, I relate to that a little too much. Like, that's where the Cronenberg stuff kind of halfway gets to me as a transgendered person, because it's like, man, that whole body dysmorphia and like, what are you and who are you as everything is changing and all this thing, and it's meant to be gross on purpose. There's the scene in Existence where they're like, Jude Law is eating this meal at a table and he's slowly like picking his bones out of his teeth and he's building a gun, and I'm always like, what the literal fuck is happening here? Also, I can't take my eyes off, because the way that this is done, the setup, the movement into this, like, I just love it. It's something that I just watched Nope, and I think comedians always get this best. It's why Tremors 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 and the TV show work so well, is that Steve and Brent are actually very funny guys. And Edwin just said, I don't want Melvin to die. I just didn't care for him. I don't think they explicitly revealed his backstory, so that doesn't help. Well, Melvin, yeah, that's Stampede is actually, Ron, Brent, and Steve have gone back several times and been like, man, if we could have, like, worked the one line of dialogue that's in the script about, yeah, his parents are off in Vegas and that's why they constantly leave him all the time, that would have given people some sympathy. But it's also something that I do ask of the viewer. If you don't ask yourself, where's his parents? And then be like, well, they're not there. And then don't immediately sympathize. Like, okay, if you're assuming that Nancy or Nestor is his parents, I'm kind of like, I get that. For the longest time, I did think Nestor was his, like, uncle or his dad from the way that he reacted. But then I found out, no, he just watched somebody die, so he's, like, freaking out about it. But you still, as a thing, you still have to ask yourself that question, why are these things here? And I wasn't trying to shit on you there, Edwin, because it does make you feel for him more. But I talked about this in that Tremors is Woke episode last night. Like, it doesn't matter. There's a kid in trouble. We as a society usually try to say, let's help the kid. Like, let's not be dicks about it. And it's more, again, the people that are straight, like, if you still hate Melvin by, like, Tremors 3 when he comes around and you're still like, I want that guy to be a dick, that's really when I'm just like, are you fully aware of everything that's happening here? Did you grow up, Melvin? Like, that's what I'm trying to say, is that there's often that when people say that, I'm like, did you grow up? Are you Melvin? Did you grow up that way? And you're sensing a little bit of that, and when you say, oh, he's a little shit, I want him to die, that's you saying, I want that part of me to die. I don't want that to be there anymore, which I totally get. That's like a completely fair analysis of being a human being. So, It's just a matter of, do you ask the question about Melvin? Ask a question. Ask a question all the time when you're doing things. Never bring your own expectations to a movie. That was a great lesson I learned long ago. Where just, you know what, whatever I have about the movie, I don't need to bring it. And again, he's right. I don't want him to die. He's just an asshole, but bigger in 3. I don't like Melvin in 1. I don't want him to die. In 3, I totally sympathize. Like, he is traumatized from that town and almost being eaten in it. Like, I get why he just wants to bulldoze it over. He literally says it to Jody in the series, where it's like, yeah, I wouldn't wish this place on anybody. Like, which I totally get. Why would you want to remember your trauma? I get it. The bigger point that I was trying to say was when you do automatically just and it's not just Melvin. I see this same thing when people talk about Grady, where it's like, oh, Grady is annoying and I hate Grady and he's just so dumb, and like, oh, why is he acting like that and being like that? And again, my brain is always like, are you not understanding that we are Grady? And I feel like if you're not getting that, it's because you don't really want to get that. And there's a part of you that's like, again, that you're annoying in that sense. You'd be a super fan. And you're just like, oh, man, come on, Grady. Don't be so dumb. But it's also, that is the point of Grady's arc in that character. He is dumb, and he is totally wrong, and he gets, like, slapped for it by the end. It's getting dark, so I gotta let you guys see my glistening Anne Frank sweat. It's wonderful. Yes, Edwin is saying, I will defend Grady. He is stupid and adorable like a puppy. He is the audience in that movie, in over his head. We all think that we'd like to be the Burt Gummers, we'd like to be the Valentines and the Earls. And in the end, we are Grady. We are Larry, actually. If you're listening to this podcast, you are Larry Norville. You are not anybody else. You are Larry Norville. And I don't think Edwin will get that because he hasn't watched it yet. But Larry is a huge sci-fi nerd fan and is... Oh, chef's kiss. So there's this thing that happens when people try to hate something with their heart closed. I guess that's what I was trying to say. You turn not your brain off, but you're turning your heart off and saying, I don't care. I don't care. You're not Tommy Lee Jones in The Fugitive. You care. I care now. I care. And so these people, and this is where I got off on the track, and we're going to come back. Watching people say that there is no difference, stop trying to tell me that the Stampede Entertainment was trying to do something good and the Don Michael Paul is just trying to make a buck off me. I was going to say doing something bad because it's not. That is the difference. That is, Stampede was trying to tell us stories that mattered. Yes, Edwin just said, I love that about Tremors. They make you love the main character, especially in 4. It's about you care. You care. The first Tremors movie is a brilliant, and I wish that they had not forced in the extra monster stuff at the beginning, is a brilliant. We spend almost 20 minutes with these people just talking and learning about them and having a go with their lives and feeling for them and being in their boots and their shoes and covered in the sewage with them. And it is, and I've timed this, it's 15 minutes when you get the Rhonda one, where it and that's one that Universal forced on them, where the monster POV of Rhonda, and if you take that out, then the first instance is Edgar on the tower, and you don't know if he's dead. You don't know if it's a monster or not. It might be like a person, even. To the point then even too then when you see the old Fred thing, you don't know, maybe it's sure the sheep are freaking out and stuff, but maybe it's a person, because you haven't, there's nothing to indicate that a monster is happening, because these people are just people. They're just people just peopling out people around people. I don't know how many times can I say the word people and it loses all meaning. Semantic satiation. That's a Ted Lasso. And Edwin just said Tremors 4 gives you an unredeemable character and redeems him. And that's honestly, Hiram's arc is one of the main reasons I love 4 so fucking much. Is because you don't get, like, everybody goes through things in the other Stampede ones, but a full transformation only kind of happens in the first one, where we have Val go from being completely like, oh, I only want my big blonde bimbo, to I actually want a woman with a PhD, which is that's his character arc for that, which is not much in terms of things. Like it's a character arc, and I count it because it totally fucking, he starts here and he goes through something and then he like ends up at the end. But Hiram, and Edwin just said, I used to dislike that him and Christine have no chemistry. I know what he's going to say next. They're not supposed to have any. I mean, they do, because you're supposed to think of like her being Reba. The real chemistry is Hiram and Fu Yen. Actually, Hiram and Juan is another one. Like the way that Juan teaches Hiram about being satisfied with something. Yes, and Edwin, but I realize that it's not the point. It's Hiram's arc and how Burt Gummer comes to be. It's the pieces that make that happen, and it's fucking fantastic. And that's one. There's one where people who hate Tremors 4 only hate Tremors 4 because they are upset that Burt Gummer didn't show up, and they don't like. Fuck Burt Hummer. And they don't like the fact that Hiram's there. That it's like, where's my gun guy? Oh, this guy doesn't even like. I have literally seen people say that's a reason why the movie is shitty. My wife Caitlin just said I was one of those people. It's okay. It's okay, babe. It's okay, babe. I get it. As a kid, that was one that I immediately fell in love with because he wasn't Burt Gummer. I've actually been a huge fan of story, like when you watch all those Sci-Fi Channel original movies, monster movies and shit like that, you actually become a huge fan of writing and story and structure, because it's not, I was going to say formulaic, but it's just everything has to have its reason and move into the next one. And yeah, it's not just about plain old Burt. It's about watching that happen, and it's so much more satisfying from a storytelling narrative perspective to actually like transform with something, rather than just like, oh, this is easy for me to attach all my personalities into it, and yeah, I'm a badass like Burt Gummer. And Edwin just said, but I love Hiram now. It just took me a minute to figure out what Michael Gross was doing, and then. If Burt Gummer Meme Stash Guy is listening to this, it's kind of why I love him, is because he doesn't he's not trying to like make Burt a badass. What he loves about Burt is his independent, free spirit nature. He's fully aware of like there's a bunch of flaws that this guy has that maybe I'll just kind of like do that. But the person that Burt is and what he's trying to achieve is what's important. And Edwin just asked, didn't Michael want to play his wife too? Actually, it's not that he wanted to play his wife. He wanted to play Burt Gummer's great grandmother and do a full like Tootsie and drag thing. And like Brent will explain, or it's usually Michael and Brent talking about it, and Brent will be like, oh yeah, we put the kibosh on that. And I'm always like, did we need to? Because I'd watch it. I'm like, and it's not a matter of I'd watch it because of like Burt Gummer being a lady. It's more just like, if you have the interesting enough character for that, if you had the idea for that, and you where are you going to take it? What are you going to do with it? I will sign up. I will sign up for that. Like, why the fuck not? I mean, and this is kind of my problem when I have when people say this about, like, oh, I just don't buy that Dandy Man and it was like Burt Gummer's grandfather and turned into him, and I just want to turn to him and be like, but you completely buy the giant worms that turn into monster chickens that turn into things that fart fire out of their ass and fly through the sky. That you have no problem buying, but the entire concept of that your relatives might be different than you are, but still also affect you down the line. Oh, no. And that's, again, what I keep saying here about Melvin and Grady and the horror movies. It's like, there's a part of you that maybe you should look in the mirror if that fucks with you so much and be like, well, is that me? Is that me that I just don't want to see and deal with? And on that point, when I was doing my Tremors is Woke episode, I even had that last night where I'm dealing with all this shit with my family, and I was talking about, like, how Burt Gummer needs to, like, admit his mistakes and move on with his family and move on with that. And I just had this whole, like, man, like, am I making the mistakes? Am I being Burt Gummer? Am I not understanding who I am inside of the community? And I ended up being like, no, there's actually some other things happening there, but it's really good of you to, like, take that moment to, like, look at that. Bravo, Levi. And I had to, like, keep podcasting in my mind. That was a real, like, whoop. And yeah, Edwin is right, but it's saying it's Bert to grandfather to son to grandson. But if you're gonna, there are people that ignore that to straight up be like, no, that's not, that wouldn't happen. And then they'll be like, four is dumb because it's not the same guy, and no way would he, like, grow into that. But you know what? I love Tremors 5, and I laughed so hard when Burt Gummer, like, rubbed pee all over himself. And you're just kind of like, you're fucking, you suck, right? You do know that you're not making this any better for anybody here. You've got, and this is where we have to start realizing that there are people in this world that have some serious messed up issues that they are not dealing with, and they need to fucking look in the goddamn mirror and deal with it. Like, legitimately. Because here's one. There's the entire Restore the Tremors Saga campaign. And I didn't start that one. Mine was the Stampede Tremors one. That was me from, like, 2 years ago when I first discovered this and trying to, like, no, like, let's make the Stampede Entertainment one. And then it turned into the, like, well, let's use the, like, Zack Snyder thing and, like, keep going from there. You can have people be like, yeah, I need to see Daddy Zaddy's vision. He was screwed out of that. And, oh, man, what a shame of the world. And I'm not, like, hating on that because I actually really do. I prefer Zack Snyder's cut to the theatrical cut. Joss Whedon can eat a buffet of dicks. But then you have these same people, and this was my experience on Reddit. This was my own personal experience on Reddit, where it's like, yeah, let's restore the Snyderverse, and then I try to be like, hey, yeah, let's, like, can we give the Tremors movies back to the people that made them? Oh, what, you mean those dumb horror movies? Why does that matter? Like, come on, like, I just want to turn my brain off, and it's, I just want to watch Burt with big guns and make puns and one-liners, man. Like, don't do that to me, dude. And I go like, well, okay, but you're sitting over here arguing that we need to restore Zack Snyder's vision of the DC universe. And maybe there's something there. Maybe Zack Snyder jerks himself off a fucking bunch. And Edwin, dude, superhero movies are stupid too. They have a shit ton of one-liners. We can get into the Marvel discussion later on. That's a whole... Jesus Christ, let's not bring that into this. Thank you again, Joss Whedon, for your shit quips. Your shitty, quippy fucking... That's just... Oh, that is... God damn it. I didn't mean to make a double there, but it's... God, like... And he is a... I hate you. I hate you, Joss Whedon, and I want to lay a lot of the blame for all of this at your feet, for like this idea of it almost ruining the concept of what wokeness should be, with like everything that he's done with his female characters, and now we basically have to erase it because it's just been like, oh, that was you just jerking off to women in leather. I was talking about this with like Steve, the Steve Wilson versus Don Michael Paul, where at least Steve Wilson's fetish was actually like, no, I like strong independent women because then we're all equal and it's great, and like she can like whip me with a chain later on. But then Don Michael Paul is like, yeah, my fetish is black women with bows and arrows. It's like, these are not. One of these is actually empowering the people, and one of these is bringing them down. And I would like to draw my goddamn line in the sand about that, because it does. Like I've okay, I was getting angry there. Don't mind me. I'm not gonna do something off screen for a second. I'm just giving a blowjob. That's all this is. Yep, I just gave a blowjob to the computer. And my wife is laughing at it, so that's even funnier. And I have to say too, I am a straight up transgender lesbian. Men are so iffy on me, so I already hate Joss Whedon with a passion. I'm not gonna be sucking anybody's dick. I will be cutting off dicks. Like, that's my thing, man. Fucking obviously, because I'm transgender. Let's cut the dicks off. Ebony bow wielding porn will be one of the only R things DMP will do. Thank you, Edwin. That was. If he made another one, and I swear, if there's another black chick with a bow and arrow in it, man, I'm gonna burn shit down. But honestly, I don't think he will. I don't think Don Michael. I think, or I hope, I guess, that all of us are making enough noise lately to like, they're just please give that back to Stampede. But the point being that setting that clock back and that Joss Whedon, like these, that's not great TV. But like let's look at like Zack Snyder over here, and he's restoring his universe. But he didn't make those things. All right, we got off track there with the quips and stuff. But Zack Snyder did not create the character of Batman. He did not create the character of Superman. He did not create the character of Wonder Woman and Flash and Aquaman and Cyborg and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He did not create the DC universe. That's a whole bunch of other people. That shit, man. It's only just recently that is Bill Kane or Bob Finger. I can never remember. That one of the writers for Batman only just recently started getting credit for writing Batman, like actually writing the character of Batman. Like, I want to say Bill Kane. I really think it's Bill Kane or Bob Finger. It doesn't matter. The point being is that they didn't get credit. They didn't get credit for it. But like, we have all these people. Yeah, Zack Snyder needs to make his characters. These are his characters. Like, bring them back. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you wanna restore that over here, but like, this is we don't care about Stampede over here, who actually did create things. And somebody just asked me, am I on Snap? No, fuck no. Because you know why? You know why I hate Snapchat? It's not forever. If you're gonna make something and you're gonna put it out there to the goddamn, and that's kind of what I'm saying here, everybody needs to look at it. If you're gonna try to say something and communicate and do that, like, do you have a stuffed brown bear? Do you have a stuffed monkey or a plush moose? Oh, okay. I think that person's a spam person. Anyway, I'm gonna continue. No, you're good. Whoever you are, you're all good. But if you're gonna put something out into the universe, it better mean something, like for now and forever. That's why I only take the beginning of this podcast out and I take the end of this podcast out. You get everything in the middle so you know what happened. You're aware of A to B to Z to Z. And I love my ums. People be like, "Oh, you're stopping and you're starting. You sound like a valley girl." Like totally. I don't really care. I may like speak and do these things or whatever. I also have to completely talk on my own for as long as possible while still getting every single point that I need to out. So just let me do it, guys. God. And my ums are always like, I know exactly what I'm going to say. It's more I just need to say it properly and say it right. Getting high is an escort in this form of podcast. It is. This is get high off my podcast, yo. Yeah, it's just like Swackhammer. Smoke, snort some Talking Tremors. Oh man, whoa, that was some good Graboid. Woo! So you've got people over here literally tearing down the internet to restore the Snyderverse, which we've only now recently found out is Zack Snyder probably paying a bunch of fucking people to do it. Which that's why I love the Tremor saga and whoever, like, if they're working for Stampede, it's clear that nobody's being paid. They've said that several times. And so it's like, okay, all you guys can do is make money off of the movies that are already happening. So, okay, like, your vested interest is in trying to make this good. Okay, I'm into this. That's why I thank them all the time for asking me to make a podcast and doing this, and then they posted. He said they posted on the channel, on the YouTube channel, next to Q&As with Steve Wilson and VFX reels. It's always fucking brilliant to me. And you can have that. Okay, like, let's restore the Snyderverse. Then let's also say over here that Stampede Entertainment needs all of their things back. That's totally fair. And it's not well. And this is Universal's argument where, well, your movies weren't doing good enough for us. They weren't making us enough money. You weren't bringing in what we wanted to, so we're just going to get rid of you. As actually their quote reason is that we just don't think that you have experience in making low-budget movies. And that's when you realize that I've said this a million times, where Tremors 1, 2, 3, 4 and the series were made for under $30 million. That's amazing. That's an amazingly low number for that many things that we are all watching now. And that's what I was saying about nobody's being paid, because it's like that's all of the money that you get, that everybody's getting from Tremors, is the residuals, is the Universal saying we can sell an empty box named Tremors, and they do. They put it out. They can. I've watched personally the Tremors, the series, get sold out on Amazon and then fill back up again. Like the next week, like, we'll get sold out and then get fucking filled back up again because so many people want it. They don't know about it. So when they do and they fucking find it, they're like, let's buy every goddamn copy we can find. You can't, I don't believe you, Universal, when you try to tell me that, yeah, Stampede, you just weren't working for us. You just weren't doing what we wanted or bringing what we needed to the table. Clearly they were, or you wouldn't have been able to make the 4 movies and the TV show and even writing. And they told them for 10 years, yeah, we want Tremors 5. Yeah, we want Tremors 5. I mean, that is the sequence of events, repeatedly telling Stampede, yeah, we want Tremors 5. Oh, no, we're not going to make it yet. Oh, but we still want Tremors 5. Oh, but we're not going to make it. Oh, but we want Tremors 5. Oh, but we're not going to make it. Oh, your clause of first refusal expired. Oh, it doesn't matter. Fine, you can go bye-bye. Stampede did all... No. Stampede did all of the heavy lifting. On the 3rd movie, and this is another direct quote from Brent Maddock, on the 3rd movie, Universal realized this wonderful new advertising trick called no marketing. That is a Brent Maddock quote. Universal realized this wonderful new advertising trick called no marketing, because they knew that what Stampede had made for Tremors 1 and 2 was so well received by not just fans, but people that make movies and see how movies are made. And your filmmaker, everybody that knows how it's done, and being like, this is a masterclass. These things are just masterclasses in what we're trying to do here. And they went, it doesn't matter. They literally did not put posters out for Tremors 3. VHS rental stores had to make their own advertisements to say Tremors 3 was coming. Because they literally, Universal was like, it doesn't matter. We don't have to. we don't have to tell anybody. We don't even have to fucking make a trailer, and people will come and see this. Like, and Edwin just said Universal just did it like Stampede, seeing themselves as heavy lifters or superiors. And you actually said something, and this is what I talked about in my episode on 7, where that's exactly what they did to Michael Gross too. Where like. Oh yeah, Michael, thank you so much. You've literally carried the series for the last 7 movies and TV show, and we rely on you, and it's your wisdom and his interaction with fans. Michael is a great guy. Like he goes to so many Comic Cons and so many interviews. He's always out there. He's on a bunch of podcasts. He's always talking to people. He gives a shit about fans. And then Universal to turn around and be like, yeah, Michael, but also, we just don't like how you keep telling us how to make Tremors. So, bye. Did Michael Gross write most of his lines? Actually, with 5, 6, and 7, Michael took up a huge fraction of all of his writing duties. There's a great thing that Michael Gross says where people will ask him, hey, would you come to a con? Would you come to a convention? And would you cosplay as Burt Gummer and like talk as Burt Gummer and role play as Burt Gummer? And he's always like, I can't, because he's a meticulously written person. And Michael has said, I sit down with my Burt Gummer lines before every movie that I do or anything, and I go through them and I make sure that everything that is said is 100% proper. And as Edwin said, he actually cares, but Universal is just, hey, we know better than you. I hate that. That's a pet peeve. You don't know better. They don't. And to literally say, yeah, we needed you. We needed you for the last all these movies. You're what was halfway selling it to people. And I hear people say that if Michael Gross is in a Tremors movie, I'm there. And I'm kind of with him on that, because he's become a part of that. But then to be like, yeah, but it's getting, God, Michael, you just can't shut up about those Stampede guys and all that stuff that they wrote. And it's like, Michael, we're not here because of Stampede Entertainment. And, you can see Michael Gross just probably being like, you're only here because of Stampede Entertainment. The only reason that anybody has any of the goodwill and the care and anything is because Stampede is because, and I say this is the big 4, Nancy Roberts, Ron Underwood, Brent Maddock, and Steve S.S. Wilson. Those 4 cared. And I didn't talk enough about Nancy in my last one, but and about why I know that Tremors is woke is because she started her own production studio. Literally because she was getting boxed out by men in the fucking 70s and 80s all the time. So she literally went like, no, screw you. I want to make independent films with artists that matter, and I'm going to do that. If I have to make my own thing, I'm going to fucking do that. That woman writes. She is a behind-the-scenes writer for many of the Tremors 1, 2, 3, 4, and the TV show. She actually wrote the water hazard episode of Tremors, the series. Actually, hold on one second. I think I hear something. Gilmore Girls is a little loud. Hold on. All right. Caitlin's watching Gilmore Girls downstairs. It's just a little loud. I don't know if you can hear Lorelai Gilmore in the background, but I'm not sure, so I just wanted to double check. And yeah, Nancy is a huge time for a commercial. Will you buy the Tremor series? Buy it now, buy it now. But Nancy Roberts is a huge part of giving all of those early Tremors movies that feministic spin. And I didn't credit her enough in the Tremors is Woke episodes. I really wanted to bring it back and hammer that. And as Edwin saying, Burt Gummer is essential, but Universal didn't like him being practically the supervisor, the character supervisor. And that's actually, Michael has admitted that, where that's where people, and this is where I say Universal can go fuck themselves, because people on set would come up to him and ask him, because he knows, like, hey, Michael, is this the way that we do that? Is this what would naturally happen? Is this what we do? Is this how a Graboid works? Is this how a Shrieker works? Is this how an Assblaster works? If you have the on-set crew asking one of your actors how the world works, it's for a goddamn good reason. And you know what? Maybe Universal is the most toxic fan of all, the most loudmouth idiot, the biggest gatekeeper of all, of just being like, hey, clearly this is working over there or whatever, but also it's not working for us. It makes us, and I always say this for Universal, where it's like they didn't really want to make the first movie. It was Jim Jacks. It was the producer, not necessarily with Universal, but had worked with them on several contracts, being like, this is a really good idea. We're going to do this. Let's make it happen. And Jim Jacks, I always, like, he's the producer for Universal of the first movie. That's Universal. And then even more so when you get into the other ones, Tom Kennenston is the direct-to-home video producer that really you could tell is like, man, no, this has got something here. This is something we need to care about. But then as the rest of the bigger cogs of the machine go, like, oh, no, we don't care. Where's our money? So while you're out there, folks, go get your Burt Gummer spray or your Earl Bassett Tidy Whities at your local Universal store. Buy them now. Yeah, and my us too are really, sometimes I just like, that pisses me off. You know, that you can say to somebody, I need you, you're valuable to me. The only reason that this is happening is because of you, but also, if you, like, the door's there. Edwin, you said that I think you tweeted where it's Universal calling Michael Gross. Hey, Michael, you know that we, like, canonically tried to kill you or whatever. You want to come? We'll give you that rocket chair if you want to come back for an 8th one. And no, Edwin, steal shit from Universal. I tell people all the time, don't you dare buy Tremors 5, 6, and 7. Don't you dare buy that complete collection. Because A, it's not complete. It doesn't have Tremors the series, so it's not really a complete collection. Go buy the attack pack. That's it. That's all you need to buy. Go buy an attack pack. It is the definitive Stampede entertainment form of Tremors. It's, you know, actually not so bad. Some great special features. I always love good special feature. But steal the rest of Universal's shit. I haven't bought it. If somebody could do the rest of us a favor and put all those special features online, I'd appreciate it. That would be me. Oh, thank you much. You bought the complete collection, Edwin. Oh, no. And yeah, the series is on Vimeo. Actually, we'll get into this, almost illegally so, but there's no other places to stream it. So Tremor Saga I think they just said fuck it, and we're just like, let's put it up. It was actually up with all 13 of the episodes for like last year, like just straight up, like it's just been up there. And then this is where, like, then, oh man, I want to talk about this, but it's also like, I'm gonna fuck up some things. But then we actually find we have a gatekeeper in the midst of the Tremors fandom. And it's none other than Brent Maddox's brother, Glenn Maddox. I've had Glenn on here for an interview, and everything that I'm talking about is stuff that Glenn has said or got and like expressed. And we've found out recently, the Tremor Saga and Caitlin and I and the Burt Gummer meme stash guy, that Glenn Maddock has a lot to say about what he thinks is and isn't Tremors. And it's not necessarily what his brother would think. And Glenn Maddock is actually real cozy with the Universal Studios system. We're actually still all trying to figure out exactly what the fuck is happening. Because honestly, I thought Glenn was running the Tremor Saga for a while. Glenn has begun banning people straight out for if you don't just only love Tremors. Like, Glenn is just like, oh, you have to. There's nothing. Like, we don't want to hear about the bad things. These bad things aren't happening. They're not real. To just leave it out of there. And it's kind of like, bro, are you not aware that your brother got, like, fucked in the ass? And that nobody... And if you listen... This is where it's funny. Because if you listen to Glenn talk, but then you listen to Brent talk, it's one of those, like... Do you not hear that, like, Brent is over there, like, high off his ass, stoned, and I don't mean, like, high on, like, painkillers or shit like that, but, like, just stoned, basically being like, yeah, Universal just, they really fucked us over, and I hate all corporate studio systems, and if you're in that business, like, you gotta be basically a psychopath, a sociopath. It's just horrible. I do a great Steve Wilson impression. I don't do a good Brent Maddock impression because he doesn't give enough interviews. So, Brent, if you're listening, which you're probably not, give more interviews. And I have now, like, we've all now become to encounter this section of gatekeeping inside of the Tremors fandom even itself. That's why I wanted to talk about this. I was just like, this is fucked up, man. Like, this is like, that's the toxicity that I want to talk about when it comes to fandoms, where it's, you have to recognize the good things and the bad things, and that these things actually go together. There's a great Doctor Who quote, the bad things don't spoil the good things, nor do the good things completely wash out the bad. They're just both piles that you have to, like, take in and respond to together. And Glenn has, like, straight up admitted that, like, what the Burt Gummer meme stash guy does, he has that. I have to admit, that dude has 50,000 followers. He is still a Tremors fan. And Edwin, you like Doctor Who, dude? I got married in the 13th Doctor's coat. That was my white dress. So yeah, I love Doctor Who, and I have to say, my experience with toxic fandoms comes from Doctor Who. There's that thing where the people will be like, oh, the character's name, it's the Doctor Who, that's the character, and people will be like, oh, it's the Doctor, you're not a real fan because you don't call him the Doctor. And it's like, okay, there's a level of, like, we can, like, gatekeep, and we can, like, say, hey, like, let's try to, like, be caught up to things and, like, figure things out all the way. But also, I don't get mad when people call them Tremors. I do. It's just like, I know the name of the movie is Tremors, and I kind of say the name Graboids a couple of times, and then you got to watch the sequel, and then you know that they do call them Graboids, and I get why you'd think that. And Edwin's right. I correct them, but don't insult that. And it's like the kid in Tremors 3. But it's not a hard and fast reason for me to be like, your opinion doesn't matter. Some of the best podcasts that I've listened to are people who know that it's not called Tremors. It's not called a tremor. It's not called they always call it a tremor. They never called it, like, it's the Tremors. And they know full well that they're getting it wrong, and they're just like, I don't care, because that's also the name on the box. So, like, how can you blame them? And I put that blame strictly at Universal's feet. Would Beneath Perfection sell as much? I don't know, but like maybe we could have found a middle ground between Beneath Perfection and Tremors. Like there could have been, we could have came up with something. And if you call it repeatedly after being corrected, then that's the problem. And that's what I'm talking about here with these 5, 6, and 7 people, where I had like when I first found out about what happened to Stampede, I did everything that I could to try to tell people about it on Facebook. There's 17,000 people now in that official Tremors Facebook group, which is a lot of that's a lot of Tremors fans, and this is really sad because I have posted it, Glenn Maddock posted it, Brett Maddock posted it, even Steve Wilson posted it, the Tremors 5 Gummer Down Under thing and everything that happened with that, and people just nothing. Nobody cares. At all. But then, the minute that you have there's a concept poster maybe for Tremors 5000, and everybody's got to flip their tits about it, or even more so, there's something happening in the ground that kind of looks like a graboid. That'll get everybody fucking talking and stuff. But an actual thing that actually happened, that actually affects everything that we're watching, that is informs you and lets you know we don't care about it. And Graboids grab, Shriekers shriek, Assblasters blast ass. I think I've said that before. That's usually that's their nomenclature idea behind it. Talking about naming structures. And it is so frustrating to me that we can get the cut of Justice League with Zack Snyder, but to even entertain the thought of that, we need to be doing something about this to those 17,000 supposedly fans on Facebook is just that's where I am so happy for Reddit when I was on there. And if you are on Reddit and you can post about Tremors, motherfucker, you're gonna rake into karma. People on Reddit love them some Tremors sometimes, because if you can, if they know that you actually care and it's a fan, then it's oh yeah, no, fucking bring me some more Tremors, bro. And I'm so mad that I got banned from Reddit, because some of my best responses and talks with people were me showing them, yeah, no, this happened, and them taking the time to read it and actually going through it and being like, holy fuck. Wow. Okay, so this did happen. This is real. You have every right and rhyme and reason to be upset about this. Thank you. Booyah. Dude, if you're on Reddit, as Edwin said, if you're on Reddit, someone likes something that you like. Yeah, usually. There's 7,000 people in the Tremor subreddit. I used to be a mod of it, but now I obviously can't. That was really fucking sad for me. And you can find your need. People care. I don't know, and not all of Reddit. That's not Reddit can be fucking dicks too. I was just more saying that when you look at Reddit as being decentralized and still somehow caring more than Facebook, where you have all 17,000 of those people and 4 of them care, but then turn around and be like, oh yeah, I want the Tremors because it's fun. And even I probably have repeated it 8,000 times already in this episode. Man, I love the first Tremors. It was so cool, and the practical effects and the great characters. Man, I just want another Tremors and have for the fun of the first one. You're not gonna have the fun of the first one unless you have the fucking people, folks. Fucking get over it. You gots to. That is what's important. Stampede. And that's where the Glenn Maddock thing, I'm actually kind of personally mad at him. because he ended up banning a bunch of us people. Like, he said he's mad at the Tremor Saga, but then he ended up banning people, like a bunch of like random individual people, like taking it out on them. And it's just kind of like, yo, bro, like, it fucking, were we not all in this together? And what the fuck is your problem? What? Shut up! Are you helping the problem? No. You're making it worse? Get the fuck out of here then! What are you doing? What are you doing? I haven't really got to talk about that. Like, that happened like 3 months ago. We're all still dealing with it. We're just like, what in the flying fart fuckers are you doing? And I've actually come to realize and find out that it's a lot of Glenn trying to move his way up the Hollywood system. Like, he's trying to basically split from his brother. He thinks he knows better than his brother and trying to make his own thing. And that's where he's got real cozy and tidy in with the Universal people. Actually, the only reason we found out about this was that one of the mods of the Tremors Facebook group was sending the Tremors Saga screenshots of what Glenn was saying in their private mod chat. And this is where I will have to, like, I have to say, this is where, like, I used to like Glenn, and I'm really just like, dude, what the fuck is happening? He legit said to a mod that has actually been modding that Facebook group for 5 years, like before Glenn even came in. And he told this guy, because this person was defending the Tremor Saga and trying to be like, hey, what are you, like, you're banning all these people, what's going on here? And Glenn straight up told this guy, if you don't like what I'm doing, and you're in the group that my family created, well then, you can just have all your money back, and there's the door. And that's not, I'm not paraphrasing. That's what he said. If I could pull it up right now, I would. But that, to literally say, oh, well, you know, my family created this group, and if you don't like it, well, we can just take your money, and there's the door. The fuck are you, bro? The fuck, Edwin, what the fuckity fucking fuck? I have a personal correspondence with Steve S.S. Wilson. I have his email. You too could actually get Steve's email. All you have to do is go to Stampede Facts and frequently asked questions. Ask him a good enough question, or try to like get him on a podcast or something, and Steve will just straight up email you back. I mean, it's the coolest thing. This was like 2 years ago when I first discovered this Stampede thing, and I sent him like all of this research about like what I realized was his life, and he knew full well, and he was like, oh wow, like, okay, like, I really appreciate you, thank you. We have a whole email correspondence. I will send him what I usually consider like the biggest Tremors news, or if like a popular post, or if Imager, if one of them goes viral, or if there's a Reddit front page or something with Tremors. And I was trying to like show him. He loves the TikTok Graboid. I actually got to show him the TikTok Graboid stuff, and so I just love that Steve Wilson is a fan of Tremors TikTok. That's hilarious to me. But I have this personal correspondence. I don't want to tell Steve this, is what I was trying to get to. Like, I had it a while back. This happened on my birthday. My birthday was July 1st. All this stuff like happened around then, a little bit before then. Actually, it started because of the Uvalde police massacre, and the Burt Gummer meme stash was making a bunch of memes about it. Just pumping out memes that cops don't care about you, and hey, like, oh, there's gunning down children and shit. Like, there was some legit, they were funny. They fucking were. I don't blame them. And the Tremor Saga, like, straight up, like, retweeted them. They actually have a thread that there's a stamp meme thread that's just, like, they take if there's a meme of Tremors, they don't give a fuck, it seems, and it gets added to the thread. Every single fucking, if you make a meme of Tremors and you have the hashtag stamp meme, they'll fucking find you, and they will put you into the Tremors memes. And they posted one And actually, they sent me the link to what this exchange was, and you can actually go find this too, because Glenn Maddock is on Twitter. This is where it started. Go to @SoccerCool2. It's actually SoccerKewl2. That's Glenn Maddock's handle, and he came at the Tremor Saga people hard one day because they posted one of Burt Gummer that was, "Hey everybody, I know things are worse and it seems like they're just going to get worse." And then underneath, "The police have no legal right to protect you." Like, no legal duty to protect you. And Glenn came in like, "You need to delete this. You need to delete this now. This has to be taken down. This is, what are you doing? This is awful." And they were just like, we're just trying to just share like something over here. Like, this is like a legit, these are Tremors fans. We didn't make this. We don't make the memes. We just share them. And Glenn wouldn't, like, just fucking hounded them. Like, no, you're done. Or we're done with you. We're completely over you. And you will have no contact with Stampede Entertainment anymore. And like, in this, like, go to @SoccerKewl2. Look up Tremors, search Tremors in the name, find his tweets about Tremors. You will see what I'm talking about. And just fired at them. And the Tremor Saga was doing a really good job, I could tell, of just like, "Dude, what the fuck is happening? Hey, we're just sharing things. We're trying to do things." This was actually at a time, too, where everybody, I mean, there was a lot. I saw this on Twitter a lot, where everybody was talking about how Burt Gummer would be voting for Trump, or Burt Gummer is that type to be like those cops, or to be like those bad Americans that we really think of when we think of that. Even the Burt Gummer meme stash guy knows exactly what I'm talking about when I say that, where it's like, you weren't paying attention. And the Tremor Saga was coming in and just trying to tell everybody they could, just be like, "No, that's actually not the character. Like, that's not what like was being created with like Steve and Brent. That there's a whole thing of, yes, that militia anti-government thing that's happening, but also like Burt Gummer cares way more than that. So like, please stop ascribing that Burt Gummer and Heather Gummer would vote for Trump." That was really all they like did, and they were just, oh my god, all over the place. And Glenn is on Twitter. You'd think, hey, like, you're gonna jump in and be like, "Yeah, my brother made the character, and I know that for sure, and that's definitely wrong." Like, never, not once. Tremor Saga even like kind of called him out for that. I was like, "Hey man, you can't come in here and attack us like that. Like, that's what are you doing? We're trying to make your world better so you don't have to deal with people like this." And I've personally spoken to Glenn. I had an interview with Glenn. I know that his beliefs are in that direction, in that opposite direction. So it's just like, what are you doing? And he came in, fired at the Tremor Saga, and then went into their private chat and basically told them like, you will have no more contact with Stampede anymore. You will not say anything to them, and do not speak to Universal or Ron Underwood or Nancy Robert. Like, he was naming them, like, "You will not speak to these people ever again." And it was just like, having read it, it's just like, dude, okay. I kind of want to, like, this is where I was saying, like, I kind of want to be like, "Hey, Steve, do you know what the fuck this is?" Like, what in the fuck is happening? Is Glenn drunk? It was actually my first thought when I heard about it, was like, just, yeah. And Edwin saying, "Glenn Mad sounds like that guy in the group that no one likes, but they can't let him go." It really does. And I ended up having to ask some really hard questions about Glenn later on as this happened, as it was getting banned. As Caitlin never did anything in the Tremors group besides like repost things, and she got banned. Like, she has nothing to do with anything, and she got banned. And she's actually pissed about it because she's never spoken to Glenn. She's never had any contact with him. Never anything. And he has the audacity to be like, "No, you're God. You can't ever enjoy Tremors again." Like, the fuck are you, bro? Honestly, I'm so pissed for her. I have my avenue for Tremors, which is this, so I still get some of what I feel out. She isn't, like I said, a person banned her and didn't even have the courtesy to speak to her and let her know why. Gross. And what I was trying to say there was like, man, I just want to message Steve, be like, what the hell's going on? But as Edwin just said, I got to scroll back up for it where it's, yeah, Steve Wilson is pure. He just wants to talk about steam engines and make good movies. And yeah, that's exactly why I am like, man, you know what? I will just deal with this, and I don't want to fucking let Steve Wilson know. Like, I have a legit, like, I could just message him and email him at any time, but it's also like, man, that's really shitty. Let's see if we can, like, work around that person and, like, not do anything with him, because then I had to ask some questions. There is this book right here, and Edwin, I know you're watching / listening, dude, you need to go buy this. Once you're done, before you get to the Final Destination series, which I'm actually, dude, I'm a huge Final Destination fan. You said that earlier about Final Destination 2, one of my favorite sequels, because it knows what it knows what the first movie did, and it fucks with you, and it plays games. Oh, these are your expectations. Fuck you, fucking. Love it. Honestly, the rest of them are pretty good too. 5 is a definite step up, and 4, I do. I like Final Destination movies. They're great. They're just a great franchise. Before you get there, though, Edwin, you need to buy this. This is the Tremors guide, and it's called the unofficial guide. It's the official guide. It's 300 fucking pages of. See, look, there's some pictures in there, but that's all words, folks. That's all a British dude. This is actually Scottish, I think. Jonathan Melville. He's actually a really nice guy. I used a lot of what he said in this book. You do. You absolutely need this. This is a book like every person, not just a Tremors fan, but all of those people who love filmmaking of any type. This is a book for you. I got a little like Pakistani there. And you can buy. Actually, you don't have to buy the book. The book's only like $12. I think there's a Kindle version of it that's like $2 or $3 if you want to get into that. But this book right here is comprehensive. Every single thing that you could want to know about Tremors up to the 4th movie, it's in here. You will find out what they were eating on the set of Tremors, the series. You will find out about the lead toxicity that everyone on set got on Tremors from eating the food with lead in it because there was arsenic blowing off the lake. And with this Glenn Maddock thing, like there's all this stuff in here. All of this stuff in here. You want to know who's missing from this book? Glenn. Glenn has been on the Tremors set since the beginning. The tire death, Nestor's tire death in the first movie is partially Glenn's idea. Like they were trying to figure out something somewhere on the set that day to like what is he going to go on to like die, and he was like, well, let's use this tire. He was he was the Melvin of the set too. Him and Robert Jane were buddies, and he was definitely a Melvin on the set kind of a guy. But he's been around, and you can actually see pictures of Glenn. The Facebook group has them, the Discord has them, of the behind the scenes, and he's in them. He's in standing next to Brent. He is not interviewed in this at all. All right, like, and I mean that. Honestly, I might. Maybe, I don't think necessarily interviewed. There's this Tremors at 25 here at the end where they're talking about the reunions, and it's more, I think he has a quote about just like being around while they set it up, and not even that. No, not even that. Like if Jonathan Melville had the thought to try to get every single person that he could. He did. And I mean actors, directors, producers, writers. There's some great stuff on Tremors the series in here because he gets a lot of the writers who you weren't able to get, and you get to hear like on-set stories. Like it's is so good. Why? I asked myself the question, why isn't Glenn in this book? All right. And I even go back to, I interviewed Glenn as one of like the early episodes of this show. Like, I got in contact with him. I've been talking to Glenn since all this started, like 2 or 3 years ago. I've been talking to Glenn for a while. And I halfway expected when I interviewed Glenn that it would, like, I would probably get to interview more Tremors people. I was originally, when I was talking to Glenn, I was originally supposed to be having another interview with Gladys Jimenez, which has still not happened after this Glenn interview. And I sit here and I'm just like, did it not happen because I interviewed Glenn? I'm going to stop and pause and let you think on that, like, Edwin. But, like, if he has been around since the beginning, why isn't he quoted in this 284 page book? Why? Alright. And I guess that's where my conspiracy of, like, I have a sneaking suspicion that Glenn Maddock is the reason that Universal won't want to get Stampede back. Because there's a level of what Edwin was saying with that, like, he's the guy that you want to get left out. He's always there, always showing up to every party when you really don't want him to. And I've actually experienced this personally with the banning, and then seen other people experience it, and then the Tremors saga has actually had people reach out to them about, like, oh no, Glenn was, like, harassing us or doing stuff. There was a board game for Tremors. It wasn't an official board game. It was called Terror Below, and he went after the makers of this game. Like, he took a personal vendetta to go after the makers of a Tremors board game for not trying to get the proper channels and the rights, all while knowing that Universal has literally put a kibosh on anything like that. So the only way that anybody could have a Tremors game or Tremors merch or anything Tremors like that is to do it and just kind of go like, well, fuck you, Universal. We're just going to, like, if you're not, it's Tremors fans. Tremors fans make Tremors happen. And Universal embraced it instead of attacking the creators, like Edwin's talking about here. And that ended up happening where he was going after this group and, you know, trying to get the official Tremors people to do it too. But then he eventually backs down because, the Universal's lawyers just said it wouldn't be worth it. But he has this straight up disdain for it, where it's like, and I'm forever, even a month ago, somebody posted in the official Tremors franchise group, because I'm a sneaky bitch and I did make another profile just to be like, fuck you, I will still watch everything that's happening. You're a dick. Ban this motherfucker. Which is funny. I can make more profiles for Facebook than I can for Reddit. Like, I've tried making more profiles for Reddit and they all get banned. I think my IP address is banned. It really fucking pisses me off. But I have, and I've been sneaking around, and I have chosen the name of a Tremors character. So if you ever see a specific Tremors character in there, and it's not, I'll give you a hint. It's not Burt Gummer, and it's not Valentine McKee, and it's not Heather Gummer, and it's not Rhonda LeBeck, and it's not Miguel Sanchez, and it's not Walter Chang, and it's not Mindy Sterngood, and it's not Melvin Plug, and it's not Nestor Cunningham, and I don't know. Maybe you can figure out the rest from there. If you're smart enough, you got it. There's a name I left out. He's still going after those people for making a fucking game. Like, he still harbors a grudge for people making a fucking game about Tremors. Like, fuck you. And it was even more funny when I saw him doing this like a month ago was that he's pissed. Time to game theory this shit. This is where it's like I wasn't expecting we'd get into like a huge Glenn Maddock talk. This is more conspiracy. It works with this gatekeeping thing because it's him just being an asshole and not understanding his own fucking brother's creation. He actually admitted in his interview that like he bought Tremors 5 without reservation and didn't care, and he'll happily sign up for another one. And I was even talking, I was like, yeah, I would too, but it's also like, I was trying to say it from the aspect of like, yeah, I would. I'd download it, Glenn. I didn't say that to him, but it's like, I'll watch it for free, but I'm not going to give them any fucking money like you are. That's weird, dude. Like, why would you give the people who like fucked your brother over any money? Isn't like ask yourself that question there. There's another one like why would you support them at all? Even Brent, the only person of the Stampede team who's seen any of Tremors 5, 6, and 7 is Steve. And Steve watched the 5th one up until the tentacles were like snaking through the ground. Like they came out of the mouth, and then he was like, I can't. This is a complete bastardization of everything that I tried to build. I'm just gonna... And he hasn't watched anything. Like, that's it. He's watched half of 5. But Glenn Maddock has said he's repeatedly watched the rest of them and all of them. And, like, kind of like with abandoned glee. And so that's where I ask, like, wow, like, you would fuck your brother over like that? That's really shitty, bro. But what I was trying to say with the games is that like, literally while Glenn a month ago is saying, I'm still mad at those people, Game Jolt has a fucking competition where they say, yeah, everybody can make a Tremors game for free. Like, and they made like 20 of them. I found that to be somewhat interesting, but we never get any evidence there that dangerous when you're paying attention and not surprised. It's just kind of useless. Hit me again. I'm not sure what you meant, Edwin. Explain more. I'll keep going. I'm not 100% sure what you meant. I don't know what the topic you were talking about there. But it's Glenn being upset at like, oh, you made this game and got away with it, and yet all at the same time there's all these other games being made that are being sponsored by It is okay. The tentacles. It's useless. Like there's just such a like. It's that rule of cool thing that I was talking about, where it's like, oh, like great. Did we really think this through all the way through? No, we didn't. It's not. I've said this in other episodes. It's like if your tongue decided to start eating things on its own, you do realize that you would never get any food because your tongue would just always be eating stuff. There's a creature in nature, it's called an isopod, that does that, where it replaces your tongue with its body and then eats all of the food that would come in after it. So it makes no biological evolutionary sense that like your tongues could detach and eat by themselves, because then you wouldn't get food. That's just dumb. And I'm saying that in a world with, a creature that eats a whole bunch of food and then it regurgitates another one. You don't need... Get the money shots, but money shots don't need writing or dialogue. They need cool direction. And you know what? Don Michael Paul doesn't even do cool money shots sometimes. Like... And nope, they look like they get eaten. Like, I mean, it looks like it might take them down, but they also try to eat them themselves. There's a definite like eat them. Maybe I'm wrong too. Maybe I need to rewatch 5 and 6. Fuck. But the point being is that here's Glenn over here telling people that you can't do this, you can't make this kind of thing for Tremors, while also literally ignoring what happened with his own brother and everything, and being like, yeah, let's just turn, like, he's the one to say, let's turn our brains off and just enjoy Tremors. Let's just enjoy, like, it at least we got Tremors. At least we got it. And I'm sitting here just like, no, we need to be discerning. we need to, as viewers, have not expectations but standards. Like, and this is where my thing of when I do try to tell people is like, do you not get you're being taken advantage of? That is my biggest problem with what's happening with Tremors. I get past what Edwin and I halfway talking about here, where the tentacles are weird and the money shots, and like I said, I come from that Sci-Fi Channel original background, or sometimes let's just have some fun, like let's just be into that or whatever. How can we have fun knowing all of this bad stuff happen, like, and that like it could be better, but we're the only reason that we're getting the money shots, that we're getting the tentacles, is because Universal knows they can make money off of us. That's what I scream, I like, and metaphorically, but I'm screaming. It was what I was doing on Reddit before I got banned. Like, just we are being taken advantage of because they know they can sell us anything, and we'll just eat it up. Like, and that's where that I wanted to have that woke discussion in the last episode, where being truly awake, being truly woke, is saying that no, until every one of my people, until all of you and me, and even Glenn, as mad as I am at Glenn, and I think that he's a fucking idiot, it's still like, man, I still want you on the rock, man. I don't want you to get eaten by the Graboid. I want you on the rock, and we will starve together. But at least we knew that, like, we didn't throw Melvin to the Graboid. We didn't actually do that. We didn't, like, it's something that I love in the first movie, where Chang is an unrepentant asshole to Val and Earl. And I don't mean he's an asshole because he's a great guy to them, but he's always trying to, like, screw them out of money. He's always trying to, like, fuck them over a little bit and, like, get that extra buck or whatever. And Val and Earl make no qualms about saying that it does piss them off. 15 lousy bucks. Man who plans ahead. Like, it's just this straight, simple, like, yeah, we know he's fucking us over or whatever, but he can eat a dick. But when Chang goes down, the person who is most affected is Val. Son of a bitch! Like, he had. I said this in the Tremors is Woke episode, where Heather has the line, "Come on, Nancy, let's don't get personal about this. We gotta do something." It doesn't matter. He watched a man get taken down, and all of that greediness and slime baggy and screwing him over, all of it went out the window because he watched someone that he cared about be eaten, and in a horrific way, and he didn't, like, that's people, man. Like, I don't, like, as much as I hate Glenn, I want you on the rock, man. And there's another bit of that at the end, where Bert's talking about committing suicide, and Earl's like, "Hey, that's not a bad idea," and Val laughs, like, just straight up, like, Did you really just say that? Oh my god. Yes, I love you, Earl. You want to make out later? And just laughs. But then Earl is like, no. Gives me an idea. Going fishing. Like, there's a level of, like, no, I get that we hate Bert right now. We were just arguing with him. But also, man's gotta, let's do that. Edwin, I love that. Why I like the Nestor takedown scene, no matter how much I dislike Melvin, it's horrifying and realistic. He's just dumbstruck that he saw someone die. I don't know. You haven't listened to it yet, but that I was just talking about that last night. Where it's, man, if you don't in that scene have the little flip of the little switch in your brain go from, man, Melvin's a shit, to, like, god damn. I always am a little, and I know it's just a matter of probably in the editing not being able to get that flow right, but it would have been great to be able to see Mindy and Nancy's reaction to that too, or Mindy's reaction, because I assume it's similar. But it's I love, and I've loved this shot since I was a kid. Melvin doing, no way, man. But then the slow pan, Val, Earl, Miguel, and Miguel's almost the worst about it. Whereas like you can see that it almost is cracking him up more, like because Val and Earl are in hero mode and Miguel's in town mode. Just like, man, that kid gonna be fucked up. We're gonna have to deal with that. Yeah, Melvin can joke, and it seems unbelievable that it's real, but when he sees it, he's fucking scared. And it's what I was trying to say with the, if you want Melvin to die and you are universally like, I just want Melvin to die. I don't like you. I don't want to, I guess that I don't want to be like that. It's just more like, I don't trust that you probably don't want to kill people. You know, you shouldn't want someone to die. And Stampede, and this is what makes the Stampede movies really great, is that they take that gravitas towards death. It's important. You may make jokes around it or whatever to deal with it when people die. It like I'm trying to give it that weight right now. Like when people die, it's forever. You can't handle it. You think you can handle it? No, you can't. It's the specter that comes for us all in the end. And as I'm getting later here, so I'm going to try to see if I could bring everything around. And our deaths are important. Yeah, there will always be the end. There will always be the end of the journey that ends up coming. So you have to ask yourself, what was that life that you lived there in the middle? What was the point of that? Did you have standards? Did you care? Are you always going to say, that's too much for me. I can't bother to be cared? And this was, and I discovered this when I first was doing stuff on Reddit, where it's like, that's just too much for me to read. I can't be bothered to read all that. You have to put it into a format that I can accept. And I actually did. You can fuck it. And that's where I get really mad, where it's like, man, I put this in a format that people can accept and is great to read, and you still turn around and be like, it's just too much for me. I mean, do we have to? It's like, yes, we do have to. What do you want our species to be? All right, humans are about adaptability. In the face of all odds, we have incredible stamina and creativity. What do we want that to stand for? If we assume that our species is gonna make it, what do we want to be, man? Are we going to forever? And I guess I'll bring up Star Wars in this sense, because I really don't like. Star Wars is ambivalent to me. I see so many people hating on the new Star Wars, and all the different ways, and it's kind of like the MCU to me. Like if you like ice cream, you're into it. If you like pizza, there's all different flavors and toppings. You can pick and choose what you want. This will lose me some followers if you're into this. The Star Wars prequel and the trilogy, and then the after trilogy, I kind of don't care for. I really like Rogue One and Solo. I do. I like those two movies. Are there some problems? Yeah, but I like I don't have to like everything inside of that. But my point there was that this goes to the Zack Snyder thing. George Lucas got to say what he wanted to, and he got to write his Star Wars movies as far as he wanted to, and did what he wanted to, and then he was like, I don't want to do Star Wars anymore. Give me a $5 billion check, and I'm out. and I don't care. Peace. Goodbye. And this is important because he made a decision to walk away from his creation and be like, whatever you guys end up doing with it, I don't give a shit. I got my $5 billion. Whoopity fucking do. And so now this entire network of assholes, man, Star Wars fans are the worst. I really do gotta say that. Fucking the worst. Because you're all, if you're what I'm talking about, bunch of gatekeeping motherfuckers, man. Like, guess what? Who gives a shit? Like, this is different or new or whatever. The dude that was doing it before gave it up and doesn't want to. If you like Star Wars, Edwin, I'm not trying to. I'm more saying, like, if you're straight up hating it and you can't accept any kind of other Star Wars. It's like, well, it doesn't matter because, like, George Lucas gave it up, man. This is what you're gonna get now. This is like your Star Wars, like, and Star Wars. Like I said, it's like pizza, man. If you like pizza, we all like a slice or two. There's a different one, but he gave it up. So what happens now? That's what should happen. That's fair. That's the laws of the universe and the way that works. And I halfway support every Star Wars fan's right to like whatever they want to like, but I don't support the racism and the sexism and the homophobia. And there's a lot of really hardcore, just like, you guys, you're not accepting anything because it's not the white people that you were used to. And it's just, that's all. You're not expressing any other thing but your own fucking deep-seated insecurities. I never get any kind of real, like, critique from Star Wars fans about what they're feeling. It's just like, these feel like veiled personal opinions. And the MCU does a similar thing to that, where it's like, it feels like there's some things you're taking out on the movie that you have your own problem with. But in both these instances, it's, hey, at least, George Lucas gave it up. Kevin Feige, I have to stand back, and I always do this, where it's like, hey, man, it's the Stampede thing. That guy, hey, he's doing it. He knows what he's doing. He's into it. Like, let him do it. Like, fucking, who gives a shit? He like, let it happen. That's such a, like, why are we complaining about it? With the Star Wars thing, hey guys, you could tell that things got off to a bit of a rocky start because they didn't have, you need to have a figurehead, a visionary behind things like that. And, then you get your tones all over the place with Star Wars. And I think they're really coming into their own now with having Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni really working it. See, I know these things. I may not have to, like, be a fan of them to try to learn about them and understand what's actually happening. That's very, very fucking important. If you are going to critique something, you better fucking know it. You better fucking know it. And that's where I hate, God, if you can't read sometimes, I will get mad at you. But then I also, hey, man, a good video will also teach you more than you can ever know. Those things are fair in the way that they happen. Over here with Stampede, you have literally people who were kicked out while writing the newest Tremors movie, after they wrote all the other ones. There is zero universe where any fan of Tremors should not just be saying, bring Stampede Entertainment back. There's not. And I highly, highly, highly feel all the people that are just like, oh, I just want to turn my brain off. They don't want to explore farther what's going to happen. And Edwin, if, like, you need to watch Tremors the series, I do highly recommend it in terms of the Burt Gummer characterization, because it's so important to learn that man, and this is something I bring up in many of my podcast episodes, is Burt Gummer right, wrong, or lucky? And I ask that question to a lot of people. Edwin, I'll ask it to you too. Is Burt Gummer right, wrong, or lucky? And every person I ask is always Yes. It's yes. He's all three of them. Yeah, I know it's time consuming, but also like you'll appreciate it. They go quick. Like they're 40-minute flybys mix, and I knew it. Yeah, Edwin says Bert is a mix. He's all three, and you learn through the series that he has a lot of growth that he needs to go towards. And that's where I love Meme Stash Guy for understanding the character, Baby Fark McGee's Axe too for understanding the character, and knowing that like this is a person that like we all know somebody like this, and we should all take the time to understand and respect that more. But also we all hope that our uncles and our dads and our grandpas or our brothers that remind us of Bert Gummer learn some lessons along the way when it comes to that, and actually ask questions about the behavior of what you're doing, and like how worth it is the lifestyle of being the independent loner libertarian when you need a community. You need one. Everybody does. Nobody makes it through this world alone. Edwin says he butts heads with people because he knows what he's doing. He knows how to do it better than everyone else. Not all the time. That's where I like Tremors the series makes that it like Bert is useful. Bert has a purpose. But you don't use a hammer when a screwdriver would work better. But the thing, Edwin, but the thing is, he is right. But when people disagree with people, and it clouds his judgment, and that's Bert. Bert ain't a people person, and that's kind of what I mean. But that's a flaw. That's a flaw. It's got to address. It doesn't get addressed in 5, 6, and 7. Like, and there's the opportunities for it where you're just like you need the people. Why aren't the writing like saying how much you need people? It's not. Six gets the closest with Bert being infirmed, and then Travis has to take over. Like that's like the closest we get where it's like, no, hey old man, like you need to back down, and I'm gonna step up. But then we fucking lose it because Jamie Kennedy doesn't come back. And yeah, Bert is such a great and three-dimensional character. It would be great to study his psyche. I don't mean to keep saying that you need to watch Tremors the series. And I do that. It's not just you, man. Trust me. I've done that to every single guest whenever it happens, where it's just like, oh, you're saying something that you would love Tremors the series for if you watched it. Like... Jesus fuck, I'll do it soon. I know, man. That's what I understand that I'm beating that broken record hammer over and over again. It's just more like, yeah, no, it's true though. He's such an interesting person. And I don't expect a review. Oh Jesus, dude, Jesus, Edwin. Oh no, I didn't expect anything from you. This has been great, just what you're doing here. I was just more saying, and I say this to everybody, if you're curious about that, aspect and that angle, you will get so much out of that series. In the same way that Tremors 4, you'll get out of that. Like learning about that different aspect and that facet. And so, yeah, I really think those people that I was saying where it's like, oh no, I just want to turn my brain off. I just don't want to care. I think they know that there's some questions that they need to ask themselves, and they're just afraid of it. And hey, man, I get it. I watched Everything Everywhere All at Once. And man, talk about a movie that'll make you ask yourself some fucking questions. And just where's the mirror and put it right up to it and look. Nope. I haven't really talked about Nope because I don't want to like spoiler it. But it's a great movie in terms of saying what we do and we give our attention to really matters. And how much when we look at things and we don't look past them, look into them. We look at them. We don't look into them. And that surface level mentality gets you killed in the end. You Nope does a great thing of like, you need to sometimes avert your eyes and not and catch it from the side and be like, okay, how do I figure this out? Okay, like, cool. Like, I know, okay, that's a predator. I know what I'm doing. If I fuck this up, it's all on me. No, you're not a dipshit. No, and this is where, and I know, and I'm not talking at you, Edwin, when I say this. People, we all do that. We all shit on ourselves hardcore. We all think that we're not good enough. We all think that we're not worth it. It's why I'm saying this thing about, I don't care how mean you are to me. I still want you on the rock. I still want you there. Edwin, if you look at Burt Gummer on the surface, you see a gun lover, a trigger happy, a Trump supporter, a government lover. But when you look past that, you see that you are wrong. Yeah, I see a man that just wants to be accepted. I think man, not. I'll take that back because that's cliche. I think he's just a man that doesn't want to live in fear, as many of us do. Who wants to be scared all the time? Nobody does. And yeah, all those fans out there that are afraid of being weird. Edwin, I know you personally because you're like, oh, my voice is gross and weird, and I don't want to like hear myself. You don't have to start a podcast, bro. It's more just like, hey, man, I had that. I got to listen back on this sometimes. I actually have to listen back on this all the fucking time. And it's always just like, this is, I'm really glad that other people like the sound of my voice, because I really don't like the sound of my voice. And that's why I do my impressions, and I try to like assuage it with jokes and my improv nature, because I'm always just like, God, I'm being serious and I'm getting into this, and now I'm a person. But also, yes, I'm a person, and that's where I struggle with that, being transgender, of just like, it's hard to accept that I am, that I be, and that I don't need to make any apologies for it. And yeah, Edwin's saying, Burt Gummer, you see a man that has fear and hides it with abrasiveness and brashness. How many of us know people that do that? I'm not talking about me, but I mean, I know people that do that. I'm currently dealing with my fucking family literally doing that. Man, we all gotta learn. Yeah, I went to Twitter to go try to improve on people who don't know or give a fuck who I am. Improv on people. I do that, hide it with my humor and jokes and movies. I hide that shit, man. Sometimes, like, this is what I'm saying. This is that horror. This is that Cronenberg thing. That I gotta read something. Oh, I gotta open my heart to it. It's not shutting off my brain. I gotta open my heart to it. Do it, and do it in your own time. That's why I said the thing about Tremors, the series. I always use it as a recommendation. Do it in your own time. Nobody, you and your character arc and who you want to be. That's you, man. Nobody needs to put definitions on it. As an outsider, I can say, hey, I've been there, I've done that, I know what you're feeling. But that is about the extent of what any person is ever going to be able to say to anybody. I don't know why you said that, because now you're instantly making me think that you are. So, like, I always say that to people. I'm not going to say it out loud because I like you. Just, like, don't ever say that phrase, because then it's just like, that's all I can think that you are now. It's okay, man. I get it. Be who you are. Oh, okay. I was okay, that's what I thought. I was going to say, Edwin said, I thought he said, it's not that I'm gay. And I was like, hey, you can't, like, you realize every time someone says it's not that I'm gay, that I instantly think, well, how gay are you then? So that's funny. And so it's good to know that you are. That's what I mean, like, that's that wokeness thing where it's like, I didn't even realize, it didn't even come into my mind whatever your sexuality was until you just said it right there. Because it's just like, what? I ain't fucking you, you ain't fucking me, I ain't care. That's where, like, people get weirded out about me being transgender, and I'm like, are you my wife? Are you downstairs? Are you going down on me and I'm on you? Because if not, I don't give a personal fuck what you think I do with my body and how I am. Like, that's how I am, baby. Suck it. So, like, fuck it, man. What? Be the weird. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it to it, Pruitt. I thought there were, you know what, man? Like, I think that, like, I'm now trying to think, like, what more do I got to say on that? I'm not talking about the gay and tranny thing, but, like, that really puts a button in it about just every time I see what I was saying with this, actually it's the Star Wars fans that's what I was really thinking of, or the MCU fans. It's like, man, this is just, you're just being straight homophobic, straight sexist, straight racist. Do you secretly want to be a gay black woman? That we don't know that, which that would be absolutely fine, Mr. Mitchell Daniels. Please be the gay black woman that you want to be. Don't make it my fucking problem, bro. Let me, like, what? This is where I'm bringing it in. I'm bringing it in. I know what I got. This is the improv. I know what I got. What is your life gonna live? Are you gonna always live your life shutting your heart off? Is it always gonna be that? Are you always gonna be afraid of that person finding out who you are, what you feel, what you're doing? Is there some part of you that understands Grady and has been Melvin and again, I was gonna bring Tremors a series, people, but you don't, has been Larry or has been a WD Twitchell. And I even got to say this about Travis, where it's like, how many dirty sleazebag guys do we know? Like, that's where, like, I don't necessarily have a problem, like, with Jamie Kennedy. It gets more than just like, who's letting you improvise all of this stuff? Please, can we tighten the script just a little bit? You don't need to just hit on everything that you see. It starts to get a little like, thank you, man. Maybe I hit on everyone I see. Maybe that's just me. Maybe no, I don't. Honestly, I'm actually a pretty asexual person. So if you're into me, I'm sorry, I'm not into you. Just the writing of Travis. I agree, Edwin. And so we got to ask yourself these questions. What are we doing? Why do I hate this thing? What am I not into? And that, and try to make something better. What is your life worth living? At the end of the day, when you're dead, will you be satisfied knowing that, I got to watch Tremors 8 at the cost of knowing that the people who made Tremors what I loved in the beginning won't be there for it. They would love to be there for it, but they won't be there for it because I was just so into hiding, and that's what it is sometimes, where it's just hiding. I want another Tremors movie to hide my feelings. I don't want to have to think about it, because the way that people try to, like, consume it is always just like, I need more. You have to continually be putting it on me, and I can't ever be thinking about anything else. And always give me more, and that's not just Tremors. That's just media and what we've done to our landscape in general. Just no. Go back, rewatch the things that you like. Find the things that you like, be into them, be proudly into them. Fucking, man, I've watched Stargate and Stargate Atlantis, like, on a repeat for, like, the last 6 months. I'm fucking into Stargate. I love me some Stargate, man. Fucking bring it on. I have also, like I said, it's literally nonstop on my TV. It's weird. Is it? Yeah. Is it weird? I also don't care. I enjoy it. I fucking love it, man. I just found out yesterday, I think, that David Hewlett is a huge fan of Tremors. So Rodney McKay on Stargate Atlantis loves Tremors. So fucking yeah, man. I can tie it back to Tremors every goddamn time. It's fucking love it, man. Love it. And if you're gonna hate something too, hate it for a good reason. That's that. I guess that is my final point. I will make here is yeah, rewatch Tremors 1, 2, and 4 weekly. Ignore 5 through 7. Yeah, get your attack packs. Love it. And if you have something that you hate it for a reason. Hate it for a good goddamn reason. Like if you're gonna tell me that the Star Wars are being turned into woke trash, I'm gonna need some more examples than Vespa bikes and Ming-Lei Wan and more diversity of people and stuff. And as Edwin just said, yeah, I used to dislike Star Wars. My reason was just because. I'm glad. Thank you. It used to be. I'm glad. Because it should be just because. There is no just because. Every child in the world who's ever asked their parents a question knows that the answer is never actually because. The because is you not wanting to evaluate who you are and what you're doing. It's, hate something for a reason. And I say that I was fully in to Tremors 5 and 6. I remember when Tremors 5 was announced and just being like, oh my god, that's awesome. There's more Tremors. That's so cool. And I watched it and I was like, well, that was different. And then, oh well, that's you see the names in the credits. Always pay attention to the credits, people. Always watch credits. And you're like, well, okay, that's not the same people. Although it's funny, it actually is. The William Truesmith and M.A. Deuce are Steve Wilson and Brent Maddox pseudonyms that they still put on the movie, which I find is hilarious because Steve's is Bill Truesmith, William Truesmith, word person, Bill Shakespeare, and then Brent Maddox is M.A. Deuce. My shit. Because he's a huge French film nerd, so that always makes me laugh that Brent chose his fucking pseudonym as my turd, my big old stinky turd. And I was anticipated 5, watched it, was into it. I won't admit that I wasn't. And then Tremors 6 came, and that was actually when I started to notice. Was Tremors 6 I was like, okay, there's something like this is not. We didn't. How do we go from that to the like? How did that happen? And it was only after how they killed Burt Gummer that I went, that makes no fucking sense. Why'd you do that? Why the fuck did that happen? And then I went on the greatest journey of my life, which was fucking falling down that graboid hole of everything that we've just discussed. And that was that was the catalyst of being like, you just killed off Michael Grove. And it was, as a storyteller, and Edwin, you know this, where it's like, there's no build up to that in 7, where it's just like, he just died? What? I remember watching it on like a Saturday. I remember because I had gotten married the week before. I got married on October 10th, and then Tremors came out on October 20th. And I was like, we were like in our honeymoon phase. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to like subject Caitlin to like watching a Tremors movie. I'll wait like a couple of weeks. And I did. And like, it was a lazy November Saturday that I just, put on Tremor 7, and we were having it was really crazy. We were having a blast watching it, just laughing like, this is nuts, man. This is some weird fucking it's not the same Tremors, but they just snorted a whole bunch of cocaine. It's kind of fun or whatever. And then they fucking killed Burt Gummer. I was like, what the fuck was that? And Edwin just asked, what the fuck was Jamie doing to leave Tremor 7? You want to know? Guess what? They didn't want to pay him. They actually were going to pay him less money than he made on Tremors 5. And it was only he had gotten a salary on Tremors 5, had gotten bonuses And then Tremor 6 came around. They increased his salary, increased his bonuses. And then Tremor 7 came around and like, we're actually going to pay you less than Tremors 5 and also no bonuses. And he had to be like, that, yeah, what the fuck, indeed, and walk. And like, because what goodwill was there? There's not that, if you don't have that behind the scenes. They talk about that with the Stampede films. Lots of times people took pay cuts to make the Stampede Entertainment films happen. Lots of it. Steve took no money to direct Tremors 2, as he took residuals. He took zero money to direct Tremors 2. That's how much he was into it. And Jamie had to just be like, well, why would I? You guys are clearly here for the buck, trying to make that, like, bye, peace. And so you get Edwin just said, no emotional momentum, and then literally a character that we just met an hour ago is somehow sad that Bergummer is dead. And if, yes, Edwin, if Jamie had been in 7, I actually would have less of a problem. And it's great to have learned that actually Jamie only just came out like a month ago, like 2 months ago. He actually put out a video. It's a half-hour long video straight up talking about all, like, how it happened. So if you're interested, I think it's on his YouTube channel. But learning that and being like, so like, yeah, that's why that's wrong. That's why that doesn't fit right. That's why that's a reason to hate something. Like that's bad, man. Like you just don't respect anybody. You're just making money. You're just making money to make money because the fans will show up. You don't know this either, Edwin, because I ended up finding it out later that the only reason Universal made the 7th movie was because how many people showed up to the 30th reunion, and they were like, "Oh my God, we can make more money like off of all these people." And I'm almost done, Edwin. I'll finish out as we finish out here, you two. Do you have any, actually, Edwin, as I'm going here, do you have any thank yous? And I'll actually read them aloud. Do you have anybody you want me to actually thank? I will thank people for you. I know you'll be here a few more minutes. I'm just saying, if you have a thought you would actually like me to say and finish it off for you, I always like to end with the guest or person or whatever. Take your time. But yeah, like I said, I learned then later on that all of this is all just a bunch of bullshit designed to make money off of us. And that's what you should, what is your life going to be? Are you going to forever be in the closet and afraid of opening your heart and having feelings? Or are you going to draw a line in the sand and be like, no, you will not take advantage of me. You will not just make money off of me. Go fuck yourself. I am a person and I will not be used. You know, like that's what I want to live. That's my life. That's what that's what I'm into. And quite frankly, I think the rest of you are too. I think if you got to the 2 hour 40-minute mark of this fucking podcast, then you definitely are with me on this idea that like we can all work together and we don't have to like kill each other. Edwin says, thank you to the Tremor Saga people for pulling this together. It's true that wherever you guys are, thank you so much. Oh my God. Thank you, Levi, for letting me go on. Dude, you can come on anytime. I'm gonna I try to do these live Twitches. I'm gonna be making sure that you are there for a lot of them. Cause it's not about us always agreeing, because sometimes that friction and the smartest things happen when people don't agree, and you can meld together and figure it out. Thank you for letting me go on. I'll do it again. I fucking love Tremors. I really don't know a lot of people on Twitter or friends to shout out. That's fine, man. Edwin Banks' family and friends, if you are happening to listen to this podcast, he or they or them are a wonderful, fine, kind person. I cannot believe the width and depth and breadth of the love that they have for Tremors. And not only Tremors, but Stampede Entertainment. Entertainment! Oh, I thank you, Edwin. The world thanks you. All Tremmies and Grabheads and Tremin thank you. You, sir, you have blessed us and graced us with not only your wisdom, your kindness, but your heart. We thank you. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. I've summed everything up. Edwin, thank you, bro. I thank you. The world thanks you, Edwin. Have a pleasant dream, and just do what you can with what you wrought. Good night and good luck.